sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome to Sports Talk with Grant, Najee, and Marsell. Um, we're blessed and excited to be here. I'm a big sports guy myself. Went to college for sport management and journalism, so I've really been ingrained with sports and media. So, this is a topic that we're really passionate about, and we're excited to dive into some good topics today. And we just added Marsell, man. Marsell, how are you doing? Introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks for the invitation, my brother. Marsell Colbert, man, from Annapolis, Maryland, of course. Played a little college ball. Went on after playing. I started coaching. I coached around 30 years, somewhere in that area. Won a couple of state championships. First black head coach to win a state championship in the state of Idaho. Went back to back, and now, man, just coaching, just teaching, and I still run the camps and clinics and all that stuff, but primarily just coaching, and not coaching but teaching KAPE, and I'm also the athletic director at my school. So that's me in a nutshell, bro.
Nice, man. We're happy to have you on. As you can see, Najee's just arriving right now. Najee, introduce yourself a little bit.
Mr. Marshall, how you doing, brother? You doing okay?
I'm
doing all right. Hey, we're breathing, so we doing all right.
Right on.
Hey, but my name's Najee Gaskins. I used to play professional baseball back in the day. I guess you could say back in the day now. But me and Graham have known each other for, since we were kids.
Right. Forever.
Forever. It's been 20 plus years. So I respect this man. And I know since you're coming on here, we got mad love for you as well. So you might have some hot takes now, with the LeBron, Jordan. But hey, we all got respect over here. So much love to you. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you guys for the invitation. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So what I really wanted to dive into today was the key aspects on how you could really win in the NBA playoffs. That's the main theme for today, and we're going to dive into all the aspects, the coaching, superstars, everything. But first, we got to react to the news. We got to react to the updated playoff standings. We got to react to the NBA news, what's going on there. So as far as matchups go, Najee, we could start with your Knicks, man. We got
They're looking good.
The Sixers,
looking great.
Knicks are looking amazing. Obviously on the Sixers side, Embiid is out. It's the same story every year with them, unfortunately. But as a Knicks fan, you're like, screw it. We're playing who's in front of us, right?
Exactly.
And then they also reported that OG Anunoby, he's got a hamstring injury. So he's going to be day to day, which that could definitely affect you guys. But I don't know.
I think it could as well. OG's a big part of this team. We need him out on the court because it can't just be Brunson. Cat had a great game last game, 20 and 10, 10 rebounds. He's showing promise, but we're way off of him. We're not fans of Cat, but because we've seen what he does. But other than that, OG is a huge part of this team. I'm sure they're probably going to try to maybe get McBride back in there. I want to see who they pull onto the court and really try to mesh it, because with them beat out, we're looking for the finals. We're looking good.
Right.
And I'm excited. You just need 2 more games. I'm praying just to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But we all know it's the Knicks. So there's only so much we can do. We can only pray and hope. Yeah.
Marsell, you got anything on this matchup? Anything you're looking for?
Well, I think for the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
I would like to see the Knicks play Mitchell Robinson and Cat together a little more. Without Embiid, you got to be able to steal some minutes with those two on the floor together. Utilize that size. I think as far as injuries are concerned, man, that's part of the game. It's unfortunate that Embiid again, but at the same time, they're part of the game. And next man up.
Yeah.
That is why I think it's important to build your franchise with guys that if one go down, you got one that can step in and step up. And the deeper you are, the deeper you go.
Are the Knicks deep though?
I'm not talking about the Knicks. I'm just talking about
anyone,
any team in the league. I mean, right now, the deepest team in the league right now is OKC.
Yeah. Dude.
They go 11 deep, man. They play 11 on any given night. They're playing 11 ball players.
Yeah.
So if you have one guy go down, your chemistry is not interrupted. You still can you plug one more guy, you plug the next guy in, and you're still chugging on all cylinders, man. You're still hitting on all cylinders. So again, I think it comes down to how you build your rosters.
Yeah.
The Knicks. I mean, I don't know who they have playing behind OB, but I do know that Mitchell Robinson is very crucial to you guys' success. If he's healthy, he brings a whole different dynamic to your team than Cat.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's going to play defense, that's going to rebound, that's going to run the floor, and you don't have to go run your offense through him. Because it's nice to have different guys playing the same position, different styles.
Yeah. Because Cat being 3-point, can shoot a little bit. Robinson, he can't hit water if he fell out the boat. But still, him in the paint is electric. They do need that presence down there. I wouldn't mind seeing two 7-footers in the paint. You're starting to see that in the league now, where most of the league, there's 6'8" plus, on the team. It's kind of getting ridiculous. Sooner or later, 20 plus years, these guys are going to be 7 foot. Like everyone's just going to be 7 foot, or you're 6'8" doing LeBron stuff. Yeah. So I do see your vision, Marshall, and I do think Robinson does. I'm not going to say he needs to step up, but he does. He has a role to fill for sure.
Yeah, I mean, both teams have a lot of talent. You know what I mean? And in the Sixers, they've won games without Embiid. You know what I mean? So, like, when Embiid goes down, they're just looking like, okay, it's next man up. We still got Tyrese Maxey. We still got Paul George, who can go off for 30 on any given night. We still, got potentially the rookie of the year. You know what I mean? He was my rookie of the year, on the team as well. So
you talking about Edgecombe?
Yeah, Edgecombe. Yeah, Edgecombe, amazing. So I think the matchup, I think it could still be a long series. A lot of people are saying Embiid's out. I think that, it's Knicks in 5 or Knicks in, you know what I mean? I still think that it could go to a 6 or 7 game series just for how explosive Maxey is. So it's another good series in the East. And, I'm going for the Knicks, Najee. I'm going for the Knicks.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, come on.
I'm going for the Knicks because they've been knocking at the door for years. And, New York, it's great when New York is on top in basketball.
Right. And it's hard to play it, and it's hard to play at the Garden. 2 games at the Garden. I mean, it's tough. Everyone's showing out in New York. You know how it is when Atlanta came. They're showing out. They hate Trae Young. Shoot, I hate Trae Young. You know what I mean? And
the media in New York is crazy, right? Like if you fumble the bag in New York, they're gonna have your face on the newspaper like you're Spider-Man, and they're gonna be coming after you. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
For New York.
I think when they go back, to Philly, they might have a little better chance. They got the home crowd behind them and everything, and they should be okay without Embiid. But Embiid's still a big part of this team, and that's really what got them there. To this next series. So. To me, I still think it's, Knicks in 5.
Knicks in 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Game 3 is really important for Philadelphia, but it's even more important for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Because you had the momentum. Going in, you want to go into Philly, and you want to take Game 3. Without Embiid, if you have Robinson back and he's healthy and you're healthy, well, not really healthy because OB, but if you got somebody to plug into that position, they could go with what's the cat's name that played with? Uh, is it Bridges?
Yeah,
Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can go with Hart, Bridges, and my man Brunson, and hell, I would start if he's healthy. I would start old boy, the big boy. Who was I just saying?
Robinson.
I would start that big five, and then bring somebody else off the bench. But I want to go in if I'm the Knicks. I want to go in and I want to send a message early and often in Game 3 and win Game 3.
Yeah. But I always have that thing where, if you win too early, they rest a little bit too, like they're resting a little bit too long. If they go out and win they win Game 4, right? They win Game 3, Game 4, 4-0, they're going on to the next series. That time of them not playing in the games has always shown me like almost like they're not as assertive, or they're not as like, we got to get this. So I wouldn't mind if they even went to a Game 6, because too much time just sitting around that, they're not moving. They're not,
it can lead to rust, for sure.
It can lead to some rust. Yeah.
But that's a mental thing too.
100%.
That's a mental thing also. You know, and as far as, if I can get it over in 4, I want it over in 4. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Game 5 and Game 6, when you win a grueling series, because that's what you call a grueling series. When you come back, when you're up 2-0 and you're up 3-1, and the next thing you know, they come up and they win two games or 3 games. Now they got pressure on you to close the series out on your home floor. But now you don't know what's going to happen injury-wise, body-wise.
Yeah.
So, I'd rather get out of there in a sweep or a gentleman's sweep 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
And if I got 3, 4, 5 days off, that allows OB to work on that hamstring. That allows guys to get their nicks and bruises taken care of. But at the same time, we're staying sharp mentally.
Yeah.
It's a mental game. I think if you buy into the media and you buy into what everybody outside your locker room is saying to you, if you buy into that right there, you lose a focus.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's gonna be. He said Sixers and 7. I mean, it's I mean, you never know. It's the NBA playoffs, especially if you have talent. That could happen, but it's more likely that the Knicks. I think the Knicks will pull it out if everyone stays.
They have the team. The team's there. We all see that they can ball. We all know they can ball. But it's if Brunson wants to, not take every shot. You gotta dish the ball a little bit. Even though he's the best shot creator on the team, 100%. Yeah. But there's times where he gotta let it go. He's gotta dish it out, throw it to Mikal, even though the guy might make it at this point. But he's still gotta, get the team involved and just keep trucking. Because I do see I can see a pathway to the finals. I really can.
Absolutely.
And New York needs that. New York needs it bad.
They do. Anything else from this matchup? Anything else you guys are looking for? Or?
Not really. I see the Sixers. I mean, solid team. But losing Embiid is really going to be hurting them. But like you said before, they've won without him. They got there, without him. So, but it's really nice when he is there. But I don't know. I still think Knicks in 5.
Yeah, I want to see how Philly responds, and I want to see who steps up. When you put your backs against the wall, a wounded animal, man. Let's see how they respond.
Absolutely. So now, obviously we have the Cavs and Pistons next. Another really good series, a lot of talent on both sides. I would argue that the Cavaliers have more talent in their top 3, but Detroit, man, I mean, they just have so many athletic dudes, guys who play hard, guys who play their role, led by Cade Cunningham as well. He's going to be all NBA, a great player. It's going to come down to clutch time. And, as you can see, James Harden in the clutch,
He's non-existent.
For some reason, he does not deliver in the clutch. Well, I don't get it. You know, one of the greatest offensive players ever, but he doesn't really deliver in the clutch. You know, what are you guys looking for in that series?
You can go ahead, Marshall. Go ahead.
Well, defense wins. It's all about defense. Who can stop who? All right. I think Harden's a liability on defense, my opinion. But on the flip side of things, I want to see what Detroit doesn't really run an offense.
No.
You know, watching that Orlando series, it was pretty much they bullied their way. Right? I think I like what's the cat's name? The big for the Cavs. Not Mobley.
Mobley?
Not Mobley. The other
Allen.
one. Allen. I like him.
Jared Allen. Yeah.
Jared Allen, he plays hard. I like him.
Yeah.
I like him. It's going to come down to if James Harden shows up or not. That's what this series is going to come down to.
Yeah.
Bottom line. Because here's the deal. He's been like that since he was in Oklahoma City. Okay? He's never shown up in the big when it counted. So Mitchell he's gonna do what he does. Cunningham's gonna do what he does.
Yeah.
But for Cleveland, I'm putting it on Harden. It comes down to if Harden steps up and he can score 20 points a game consistently with 8 or 9 assists, I'll give him the edge. But I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's why people are talking about, hey, you know, LeBron James, you're a free agent this summer. You know, if Cleveland doesn't get over the hump, LeBron can be that guy to come in and get them over the hump realistically. And I know you're shaking your head. I know, but I mean,
Marshall, this guy's 40 plus years old, and everyone's still expecting him to drop 30. Yeah. That says something. That literally says something. This guy can dish the ball. He literally makes shot creators. I mean, he does everything.
He does everything.
Does he play defense?
He can.
He can when
You've seen him.
He can when he needs.
Okay.
You see.
I tell you what. Let Cleveland make that decision and bring him in. And I don't want to hear any more excuses. I'm just saying. Hey, at some point, man, you have to develop ball players. If you draft and you signing these guys, it's up to you and your organization to develop them.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like the Lakers.
That quick fix. It's not that quick fix, man. It's not what it was 10 years ago.
Yeah. So you're thinking OKC did the right thing by giving away, you know, they did the right thing building up these players. And because back in the day when LA had Randall, Jordan Clarkson, you know, D'Angelo Russell. Yeah. They had, I mean, every superstar in the last 5 years they had on one team at that time. And then they were just like, well, we need to, you know, dish them off and go get better players because they can't develop. You're a big money team. You can't really develop. And I think that's why OKC kind of took advantage of that. They're like, well, we can develop here. You know, we're not a, you know, big money team. So we can just go ahead and develop these players, get a person that's going to, you know, fit into our system. And I think that's what they did. But it's for the Lakers, it's way different. Like they got to show right away.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I disagree. Boston. Look at my Celtics. Same thing. We're drafting guys. We're growing. We're building. We're developing guys. It's not about the market. It's about the franchise's philosophy, the mindset. What do you want to do? Do you want to win now, or do you want to win successfully 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road?
Yeah.
Get that ring is one thing, but being able to sustain that is a whole nother.
Absolutely.
Okay, another example. Golden State. When Golden State went on that run, what is that? Like pretty much a 10-year run or whatever it was, when they were constantly in the finals or at the top of the league. Those guys were all developed there. They didn't go out and start with superstars. Those guys were developed in those systems, in those franchises. So if you want to go and buy a championship, and here's the other side of it. The last thing I'm gonna say about that is this here. If you want to go and buy a championship, that sounds really good to go buy one. But when you get those guys in your building, how are they going to respond to one another, and how are they going to respond to the coach?
Yeah.
Are they going to fall in? Are they going to be willing to work together to get to that ultimate goal? Not everybody thinks that way. Some guys are just selfish. Some guys are all about men, all about.
Well, we saw that with the KD in Houston. You can see there's a disconnect on the team where KD feels like he's not even the main guy, and it's Sengun is taking over, trying when KD still feels like, hey, I'm still the guy. But there's definitely a disconnect, and I see what you're saying. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, I have a slight pushback though, because with Oklahoma City, they did trade for Shea. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
young ball player, but he wasn't.
That is true.
He was not Shea when they traded for him.
But he was still good though. He just didn't get no airtime. He just didn't get no airtime.
He was good, but no, I'm gonna let you go ahead. Go ahead, Grant.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, there's some times where you have to make that move for a superstar player. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, developing is great. You do want to develop a lot of the players, but there's some times where you can get a big time player and that'll get you over the hump to get that championship. And I think that, teams, obviously depth is great. Depth will help you for the long run. But at the same time, if you can make that move to get that high quality player who's going to be there for a long time, then I think you do it. I truly think you do it.
Yeah. If he's going to be there for a long time, LeBron ain't going to be there for a long time.
True, but I believe LeBron.
Now think about this though. Look at that OKC roster. Okay, you said they traded for Shea from the Clippers, right?
Yeah.
Look at everybody else on that roster, and then look at the money side of things too. Because when you sign that big fish, that whale, that eats up a lot of salary cap money. So now you got 3-4 guys coming up that you will lose 2 of them because they want to get paid too. But you look at OKC's roster right now; they're good for the next couple of years, I think.
Yeah, I mean, unless Chet Holmgren demands a crazy amount of money, which he might because he's that great.
Didn't he get locked in already? Didn't he?
For how long though? For how long? Because I'm
not too sure, but I thought he signed.
Yeah. Jalen Williams eventually, because he was an all-star one year, all of these guys are eventually going to start demanding a lot more money. And I get it.
But that's the thing. They won't be able to pay them. They won't be able to pay them. If Shea's asking for, 350, a grip of money, the whole team's about to, they're going to be kicking rocks and going to different teams.
Yeah. So you know what? And they still got a lot of draft capital.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's what I'm saying. Management, man. LA's management is not. No.
Yeah. And Najee, you brought up a good point with D'Angelo Russell and when Lonzo Ball and all those guys were there, and they traded them all the way for Anthony Davis. They got one chip, but what have they done after that? You know what I mean? It's not really you could have just signed LeBron and then kept all of those guys, and you probably would have been better off. So. I do think,
but they did the right. To me, they did the right thing. They had all these players, right? It didn't work for them. They all had superstar level, but they couldn't give them superstar level time. So they're like, okay, what can we do to bring a championship back to LA? Let's dish some of these guys out, and we can win this thing with AD. AD at the time was unstoppable. I mean, the guy was elite.
I mean,
he still is elite.
Yeah, when he's healthy.
Yeah, when he's healthy. And to me, but that's what I see with OKC. What's going to happen is that they have so many great players, and they're going to be great for a long time. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. They're going to be great for a long time. And if they really need to go get that one big player, that one big sign, they can dish off some of the guys that they have on the bench. You know, they have great management. That's what you want.
Yeah.
You want to have the depth to where, like, hey, the guys on my bench can start on any other NBA team. And I believe that's what they've done.
Yeah. Jordan McCain can start on the Lakers right now. Yeah. Right now. Yeah.
Hey, and that's why I said it's all about the management and how they go about growing their franchises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the Lakers, going back to them when they won that bubble chip, I call it the bubble chip. When they won that chip, right? That roster, the next season, they got rid of JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. Yeah. Anthony Davis is a power forward, not a center.
Mm-hmm.
When they got rid of those two, where did Anthony Davis play?
Center.
He played the center.
Yeah.
And he had to deal with the Joker.
Yeah.
Couldn't deal with him.
Not many people in the league can deal with the Joker.
Really, but here's the thing though. But if you got those two bigs that you had when you won that championship, that would allow AD to be AD and do what he does best.
Yeah.
You know,
roam around, get blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because now, and let me ask you guys a question since we are on this. You guys watched that championship series, right? The Lakers and the Heat.
Yeah.
Who was the MVP of that series?
I mean, in the bubble, yeah. You're saying? Yes. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I would say Anthony Davis, but like obviously,
you're right. No, you're right. Right there.
Yeah.
It was AD. It was not LeBron.
Yeah.
They don't win without AD.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying. I'm just stating facts to you. If you take AD off that floor, they don't win.
That's true.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I believe in AD. You know, I believe in the hype with AD.
I like AD, man.
Yeah. AD.
I like him at the 4. If you go back before he went to LA when they had him and DeMarcus Cousins down in New Orleans.
The Pelicans, yeah.
Man, that cat was playing. He is a natural 4. He is not a 5.
It's a great take.
Yeah. It's a great take for sure. So is there any other matchups that you guys are, you know, looking into or, you know, interested in? You know, me, I'm Lakers. I'm a Lakers guy. We play the Thunder tonight. Unfortunately, it's not looking good.
Luka got to come back.
Luka
got to get back. I don't know what type of drugs they need to put him on. I don't know. They got to get him back. They got to get him back.
Edwards, because Edwards came back quick.
How does he hyperextend his knee and he's back in a week? That don't make any sense.
Crazy.
That's called desire, man.
Yeah,
that's
called I don't know.
No, hey, seriously, that's called desire, man. He wants to be on that floor.
Yeah.
And you guys can get Luka back for LA. That ain't gonna help y'all.
We gotta believe, man. We gotta believe.
I'm just. Listen, I'm gonna be real with you now.
Yeah.
Okay. If you put Luka on the floor with Austin Reeves and LeBron, you got 3 guys that don't play defense.
That's true. Yeah.
Me, honestly, I watched the Houston series, and LeBron played better without those 2 ball players.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you add those guys in, you take something away.
But they need scoring. Austin Reeves is going. If Austin Reeves going 1 for 11, that just can't happen.
Yeah, but you got to look at who they playing, man.
I get that too.
They are playing the defending champions,
mm-hmm.
and they got it figured out. They know how they want to play, and they play the way that they want to play. And they go 11 deep.
Yeah.
So
the depth matters.
It's not like it's not like when the starting five go out, now you can relax and then you can come back. No, that second five coming in, they building on top of that energy.
Yeah. And the Lakers have no depth.
See, and that's the other side of it. And it goes right back down to management. Like we were talking about a few minutes ago. It's just poor management, man. I mean, I get it that you want to have superstars, but you got to think about the guys, those fillers, those guys that come in and play roles, man. You got a guy that plays defense, guy that rebounds the ball, a guy that comes in and changes the tempo of the game. You know, your backup point guard. You know, so it comes back down to management, man.
Yeah.
So we should stop paying more to these big time players and try to find basically the needle in not the needle in the haystack, but just some better depth.
Swiss Army knife type of players.
Swiss Army knife.
Well,
we only have one to two great players, and then just have a great depth, great bench.
But also it comes back down to development. You gotta. This is a tough thing about sports, especially at that level, is finding guys that love the game, not the money. Guys that's going to put that work in the summertime, in the off season, that's going to develop. You got a guard that may struggle shooting the three in the off season. He's going to focus on improving that part of his game. Guys that's like look at their game and be like, all right, well, this year I struggled on ball defensively, so now I got to work on that. I'm playing. You got to get guys that want to develop, that want to stay around, that want to be around for that third or fourth contract if that's possible. You see what I'm saying? You don't want a guy that's just there for one contract. That's the mentality right now that I see. You get these guys that had pretty decent college careers, get to the league, and that's their plateau. They don't break that glass ceiling. They don't overachieve. A lot of these guys underachieve.
Yeah.
And if you want to build a franchise, if you want to build a winning franchise, you don't need to have three max players. Of course, if you do have three max players, that tells me that they've been there for a while to get to that level, right? So you're gonna always lose a ball player or two ball players. I don't see you having one guy for 14, 15 years anymore because of the money, the pay structure, right? But if you're developing and you lose a guy and you got a guy that's just as good as he is, that's been playing behind him, okay, he can step in. So it's not like you got to continue to keep stockpiling, the best talent. If you're developing these ball players, man, your franchise can OKC and Boston and the run that Golden State had, those are prime examples. They didn't have a whole bunch of, they didn't have 3 or 4 superstars that they paid to come in. They developed those cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like a lot of it now, it's like, teams just want to win and win now. They want to just get in there. All right, whatever we got to pay, let's win now. That's going to fill our pockets right now. Gets more people to come to the stadium. Our pockets are going to be full, just like the Lakers. Like I feel like that's what they did with getting like AD. They're just like, okay, we just got AD, cool. We got to win the ship. We're going to win the whole thing, and then our pockets are going to be full, and then we'll figure it out later on. But with OKC, I feel like OKC's always been that, I don't want to say bottom tier team because they had Kevin Durant, they had Russell Westbrook, they had James Harden, they had a solid squad. It was just that it just didn't work out,
Yeah.
Paul George, Carmelo
too.
Paul George was there too. I mean,
remember Harden left though, right? Remember Harden left after that championship, after he lost to the Heat.
Yeah.
Right. But then now. Talk about money and wanting to stockpile and everything else. You guys remember the Brooklyn Nets, right?
Yeah. That was crazy how bad that was.
See? So that's why I'm saying, money ain't gonna buy you no chips, man. There's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean that's we kind of talked a little bit about it, but that's what I want to dive into next. Like, as far as like, the key aspects of winning in the NBA playoffs, like how important do you think, superstars are, in these series? Obviously you want to have good depth, you want to have good coaching and stuff like that. But like, how important do you think it is, having that guy at the end of the game who you could just, throw the ball to and be like, let's close this team out. You know what I mean? We need one shot. You're giving it to Brunson, you're giving it to LeBron, you're giving it, to Steph Curry. How important do you think it is to win these series in the NBA playoffs, with superstars?
I believe it's important that you have to have some veteran on the team that's been there before. And that's why I think if LeBron even went to Cleveland, I think they would be a whole different team, and they would be 100% better. Because now at the end of LeBron's career right now, it's not about him, but he can make everyone better, dish that ball off, create shots for other guys. And to me, it is important to have that veteran presence on the team, but also, like Marshall was saying, the depth is huge when it comes to winning championships. Because just like we said, with OKC, there is no flaws in their system right now.
No.
They're pretty locked in, loaded when it comes to 3 guys can be hurt right now, and we got another 3 to come right up and basically perform just as good. So that's my take on it.
Okay, so you know what? We forgot one team, the Spurs. They're young, but they're also deep, and they also give OKC a little trouble.
Yeah.
Of course, playoff time is different. So but we shall see. If they get through, if they both make it to the Western Conference Finals, we're going to see. We're going to see if experience wins over youth. Because right now, the Spurs are the young guns, and OKC, those are the proven veterans. Those are the defending champions. So we'll see. But as far as playoffs are concerned, I think yes, you do want, you do want a superstar. You want guys that that are proven, that have been there, done that. That when the game is on the line, they're not afraid to take that shot, right? With that being said, you also need those guys to help him get to that point where he can take that shot. It's a team sport, team effort. You need those role players, right? And you need that depth. This league is different now. It's a new league. It's no longer where you can play 7 or 8 guys and go 7 games in 3 rounds. Today's game, especially with all the injuries that's going on right now, you have to have. It's important that you have that depth, that you have guys that can come in, and also on that same note, the same line, you got to have a veteran presence on your bench.
Yeah,
and I think I honestly think that's what did Orlando win. They don't have that one veteran that's going to help them get over that hump because they played Detroit. But yeah, so I say it's important to have a superstar, but you got to have the right cast around that superstar to get him to that point to where he's going to hit that big shot to send you on to the next round or have you cutting down them nets.
Yeah. Going back to the OKC and San Antonio, I think it's crucial that Chet Holmgren shows something, because I don't think he's at the tier that Wembanyama's on. Because there's no reason why OKC shouldn't be. The Spurs are good, but there's no reason why OKC shouldn't win, more than half. Chet is just, is supposed to be just as good. I won't say better because he's not close, but, just as good as Wembanyama. And Wembanyama is really the star of that team with Stephon Castle. But that's really it. De'Aaron Fox is not even close to, what he used to be. He's kind of taken a step back. But you're just telling me that all you have to do is just kind of stop Chet and you're walking OKC now. I don't know. That just, to me, that just is something's not adding up, or the Spurs just have their number. And that's something that we really got to take into account. Like, is it just we got to get Chet out of the picture and then we're going to win this game? I mean, I don't know. But that would be telling to me if I was in management.
Yeah, it's a matchup. I think it's a matchup. And I think also what it comes down to is, you know, styles make fights, baby. Styles make fights. And when you got Wembanyama, I mean, that cat can do everything.
Yeah.
You know, but don't get it twisted now. De'Aaron Fox can still play.
We all like to believe he can.
Oh no, he can still play. You know, but you guys will remember too now. When he was in Sacramento, he was the guy in Sacramento. He ain't the guy no more. He got a 7'6" guy in there that's the guy now, and he's got to pick and choose his spots.
But he needs to knock down, you know, them shots. Like he's playing like he's scared. He's playing like he's not that superstar that he was in Sacramento. Yes, he got the ball. I mean, there's Wembanyama now, but
you still got to give us 25.
He needs at least 20. Yeah, he needs 20 plus. I mean, Stephon Castle's shown that, oh man, he's the guy. Like he's shown that he's the guy.
You got Harper. I mean, you got other guys on that roster, man, that can score too.
But De'Aaron Fox is supposed to be that guy.
Yeah, well,
that's why they got him.
I'll put it to you like this here. Well, this summer, I hope he sees this interview and sees the podcast. So this summer, he can work on his street.
No joke.
Yeah.
That'd be great to have him on the show. Hey, De'Aaron.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna cap. We'd love to have you on the show, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, you guys brought up good points about, you know, superstars and depth. You know, obviously we're kind of leaning towards depth, you know, being more, you know, obviously you want that superstar, but you do need that depth in order to really, you know, make a splash. But then you also brought up, you know, experience versus youth. You know what I mean? Like, where do you align with experience versus youth? Like, obviously, you know, you do want some experienced guys, but, you know, you see young teams nowadays who are just, you know, they're going crazy. Obviously, you got to prove it in the playoffs, but like some of these young teams are really, you know, going crazy in the NBA and they're sticking it to these experienced teams. They're like, we're here now. You know what I'm saying? So where do you guys stand on that? You know, experience versus youth. What do you think is more important?
I still think it's experience, but you know, with experience, you got to pay them more. So that's where we were talking about, like, if we don't pay these guys, you know, we got to have a great team, great depth, and that's what OKC's done.
Yeah.
With OKC, literally, it just has Shea. You know, when we're talking about like experience, I mean, that whole team was there last year, and they won the thing. But you can't be LeBron, you know, coming back. It's just not the same to me, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
paying LeBron as much as we pay him, it is worth it. But then there's a cost. There's always a cost when it comes to this. So to me, I still believe experience does matter, but it depends on how much we're paying for the experience. You know, I would love to have, you know, like Chris Paul on, you know, the Lakers or something like that. I would love to have him on the team because they need him. Or, you know, Chris Paul on, you know, OKC. You know, that team would be you know.
The Rockets could have used Chris Paul for sure. But on a minimum deal, that's what you're saying. Like, bring him in
on a minimum. At a minimum,
deal.
you only bring guys like Haslam. You know, back in the day, this dude ain't playing the game, but he's there for support. He's a coach at this point. You know.
Yeah.
When Haslam was on the Heat, he was a coach at that point. But shoot, you know, he still could get up there and do it. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I would only pay. You can only pay, you know, so much for the experience.
Right.
Well, you want a mixture, man. Me personally, you gotta have, you know, you can't have a roster full of 19 and 20-year-olds expect to win.
Yeah.
In a grown man's league. Okay. So if you look at the OKC roster, I just pulled that up. You got a couple of guys on here that's 34 years old. Okay, they may not play much, but they got that experience. They can tell the younger guys who's playing in front of them in practice. They can give them information, man. That's gonna help them be successful. You know, um, you don't win championships are won from the top down to the bottom. You know, everybody's got a role to play. Everybody's got to buy in. Okay, it's not about the noise that's going on outside the locker room. It's what the guys inside the locker room believe. And if you got a good head coach, and you got good team leaders, and you got veteran leadership, and you got a young ball club, you can't help but be successful. So I think you need it's a mixture. You know, you can have an experienced team, but let's say that experienced team, you got guys that are all in their 30s, and they run up against a team that is mixed with experience and youth. Them young legs will run them old legs out that gym.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know, so that's just how I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect mix. A perfect mix for sure. And then, you know, another thing as well, you know, coaching and adjustments. You know, I feel like,
Yep.
you know, a lot of sports talk shows and stuff, they really just focus on the players. Like, did LeBron do well this game? Did Steph Curry do well this game? But, you know, there's times where the coach is not making adjustments. You know what I'm saying? The coach is not putting in the right players, the rotations. Sometimes the coach has lost the locker room. That happens in a lot of places. I think that's happened with JJ Redick and the Lakers. So for you guys, like, what, you know, how important is coaching to you guys in terms of, you know, the NBA playoffs? And do you think we overlook it sometimes? You know, a lot of times we just talk about the players, you know, or stuff like that.
I think coaching is probably the most important.
Yeah.
You know, taking out the players when they need the rest, putting guys in that they believe can, you know, get a couple points in just so that the starters are, you know, sitting back and can relax a little bit. It's not so much pressure. But you can tell as well, like, it always feels like JJ Redick doesn't know when to put guys in or, you know, who to rely on. So I always say the management does matter. The coaching does matter. Because if you got bad coach, you're not winning the game. You're not going to do it. The talent can push you so far. If you don't have a coach that knows exactly what he's doing and has a plan to win that game for that day, yeah, you had a game plan, but things change. Guys get hurt. We need to, you know, you got to kind of shake with the trenches or whatever you say, and really be on point and be on top of things.
Yeah, coaching is I think coaching in any part of the season is critical. You know, you have to trust your players, and your players have to trust you. I think trust is the biggest thing as a coach. You got to trust the people that you're working with, and they have to trust you. And you have to be willing to make on those nights where things aren't going as planned. You got to be willing. You got to have the goal to pull that guy and put somebody else in for that player. But you have to have that relationship with that player, so that player knows that, hey, tonight I'm not doing my job, you know. And that's where I think right now the league is really I think the league is really a players' league to a fault, to where, yeah, I make $5 million a year, but I got a guy making $35 million a year. So how am I going to coach this guy? If I pull this guy out, you know, it also comes down to how you do it, how you go about doing it. I'm not doing this to show you up. And in the media, I'm not going to give you thing in the media when I'm talking to you that's going to badmouth my ball player. You know, I think that there's a way to go about the business of coaching, and you don't have to be over the top, but at the same time, you ain't got to be a pushover. You got to be right in the middle, to where, like, listen, we know what we want to do. We want to accomplish that ring at the end of the season. In order for us to do that, there are gonna be times where I got to get on you. There could be times where I make bad decisions, where I make the wrong decision. I'm gonna own that, but I need you to do the same thing. So I think coaching is really crucial. And at the end of a close game, like I just saw a comment right there at the end, especially at the end of close games.
Yeah,
close games, you got to know your personnel. You know, you got to know, you got to put the guy in that's going to inbound that ball and not turn it over first and foremost. And you got to put guys on the floor that know where they're going to be and going to be where they need to be, and not go rogue and do their own thing. You know, so at the end of the day, it comes down to trust, man. And you need to have that trust, and it has to go from players to coaches and vice versa. And it's got to go through the whole roster, the whole staff, everybody.
Absolutely.
Well, how do you guys feel about like Brunson's dad being a part of the Knicks? You know what I'm saying?
Now, that's a good question, and this is me, okay? I don't have a problem with it as long as that relationship is not interfering with the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm coaching my son and you can see that I'm favoring my son, I shouldn't be coaching my team. Right? Mm-hmm. I think if he's there and he treats his son the way he treats everybody else and vice versa, I think that's a good thing. But if it's a distraction, that should not be. And I don't know the situation.
Right.
I'm just telling you from
the outside looking in.
From my perspective, he should not. If he is on, if he's a distraction to the team, if he's causing a rift within the locker room, he shouldn't be involved. But if it's a non-issue, then I'm all for it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's good points.
I just wanted to ask. Yeah. I just wanted to ask.
Now let me ask you though, Najee, is that an issue though?
Because there's times where I'm watching the game and I only see his dad per se, talking just to Jalen, just to Brunson. And I'm just like, I don't know. There's sometimes where it feels like there is I don't want to say like a disconnect, but it's like, yeah, okay, Dad, like, yeah, I got it, type of thing, instead of actually like listening to him and, taking it for what it is. Because we all been here, we all been there with our fathers where he's telling us something. We're like, man, I'm not even listening to it. It could be 100% correct. And I still would be like, man, I'm not listening to it. But you need someone else to tell you the same thing, but it's just not coming from him. So I just don't know. I just feel like it's great that they do have that father-son, that is a crazy thing to where your dad's a coach on the team. You came over from Dallas to the Knicks, it made sense to do it. It's just sometimes I'm always just like, well, does that affect the team a little bit? Or, does he put in in the, Brown's ear, hey, get Jalen in the game, or, take Jalen out? Is it his team? Because there's a lot of times you're kind of like looking at Jalen Brunson's dad and you're like, man, it looks like this dude's the coach, So right. That's just my take on it.
Okay. Yeah. I can go on with that, but I'm gonna let that. But I'm understand. But no, because I was in that situation with my sons. I coached my sons in high school. And all I'm gonna say is this here: it's all in how you approach it. Because when I was in that position, I was harder on my sons.
Absolutely.
Right? But I was also hard on everybody else. But certain times of the game, it like I said, it all comes down to how you approach that situation. And I knew my sons, and I knew when to talk to them, when not to talk to them. I knew when they would hear me, and I knew when they wouldn't hear me. So I had to, but that's something I had to work on. I can't speak for that situation, but yeah, that's definitely a different dynamic though, especially at the professional level.
Yeah. I mean, there's some guys like I know, like Alec Thomas. His dad is like a coach for, I believe, the White Sox. That's in baseball. His dad's a coach for the White Sox and everything. But they're not on the same team, so it's like it's okay. When he hits a home run off of them, he's just like, "Ha ha, dad," kind of irking him, and then his dad's like, "Hey, this is a professional. Like this is professional. Like you can't be messing around." But yeah, it's just different. It's something that we've never really seen. I mean, there was a Doc Rivers and like Austin Rivers, but Doc Rivers was the coach. Like he was the coach, the head coach. It's not like an assistant coach, and then guys are like, well, should we just be listening, to Mike Brown, or should we listen to, Brunson's dad? There's just a big dynamic here where it's something different that we really haven't seen.
Yep. Yeah, but it also, and the last thing is it comes down to the staff, their relationship and how and boundaries and things of that nature too. And like I said, it comes and with Brown and the dad, it comes down to their relationship and their trust. I trust that you're gonna do what's best for the team, not just for your kid. Yeah. So, that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, coaching is very important, and I think a lot of people, even the media people, NBA fans, I think we overlook assistants as well. Most people just look at the head coach, and I think about in Boston when Doc Rivers won, he had some amazing assistants on his side. You could argue they were more important than him at times. And he listened to them, and I think a lot of coaches don't. They sometimes kind of just have a deaf ear towards their assistants. They listen to it and they're like, I'm just not going to do that. You know what I mean? Which is what JJ Redick is doing. He has some great assistants, Scott Brooks and Nate McMillan on the side, and he's not listening to them. So I think also, assistants as well are very, very important in coaching.
He definitely has that, like, hey, I'm the main guy.
Yeah.
I'm the head coach. Like you could say something, but my word is going to be what's true. And okay. I see that.
Well, and see, but now here's the other thing too, though. And I'm not a Redick fan, but this is my question. Did he hire those guys, or were those guys placed with him? Because that's another thing too.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, because as a head coach, I want to have guys with me that I trust, that I know. Guys that I want to coach with me. If you place coaches with me that I'm not familiar with, or I may not have a good rapport with, now right there, that's gonna cause a rift at some point in the season. So,
right.
And like you guys are saying, it's like, well, just how he carries himself is about him. Were they handpicked or were they given to him? Were they placed around him on his staff?
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic because we know LeBron was very integral in bringing in JJ Redick. They had the relationship. They were on the podcast. Like, so you really know LeBron kind of low key like co-signed JJ Redick coming on. But you brought up a good point. Like, did JJ Redick at that point say, okay, I want Scott Brooks, I want Nate McMillan? I know LeBron has a good relationship with Scott Brooks, so that was probably LeBron as well with Scott Brooks. I'm not sure about Nate McMillan. So, yeah,
LeBron literally should just be coaching the Lakers, man.
At this point.
And so now think about what you just said, though. Think about this now. Let's say, okay, yeah, you got me the job. Now I want to go and bring in some coaches to help me develop my system, my program, and go from there. Now, if LeBron is bringing you in and getting you the job, and now he's bringing in your assistant coaches, how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
Again, it's. I just feel better. I would feel better about a situation knowing that the head coach brought his guys in.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it just feels like LeBron's the GM at this point.
Everything.
If they're successful, great. If they're not successful, then it's on the head coach. But like you brought up a couple minutes ago about Doc Rivers in Boston, I guarantee you that he handpicked the staff.
Yeah.
Because when he left and went to the Clippers, who did he take with him? His assistant coaches.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's usually how it goes. Yeah, that's usually how it goes, you know.
Yeah. So that's why, and I don't know if JJ picked the coaches or not, but I'm just saying that if he didn't choose his assistant coaches, then that's not good. That's a disconnect. At some point, there's going to be he's not going to trust them when he needs to trust them the most.
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. Well, you know, we had a great topic today. Thank you, you know, Marsell and, you know, Najee. We always, you know, come ready and prepared. And, you know, we're happy to have you on the show, Marsell. So, you know, let's keep it going, man. Every Thursday at 8 p.m. Sports Talk.
Let's keep it rolling, baby.
Hey, appreciate you guys' time. See you.
Yeah.